Welcome to our run-through of how to use brushes in Photoshop. First thing you can do is just get over to your toolbar and click on the brush tool icon. Okay, now first thing we'll do is change the size of this brush, and there are a couple of different ways to do this. One way is simply to press your open bracket key on your keyboard, and that's to the right of the P key. So if you press that, it'll make it smaller, and if you press the close bracket key, it'll make it larger. Now coming in with, I believe it was CS3, you've got another option. On a Windows machine, hold down the Alt key, then do a right click, and you get that little dealie and pull to the right for larger and to the left for smaller. On a Mac, you would hold down the Control and Option key and then do a left click, and it'll be the same thing. Now, another thing you want to look at when you set your brush is how hard do you want the edge of this brush to be, or how fuzzy do you want it to be, and there are a couple of different ways to do that. You can come up in here, click the down arrow, and you can see you've got your hard edge or your fuzzy edge selected. Let's go ahead and choose a hard edge brush right there, and that's pretty hard. Okay, Control Z or Command Z to step back one. Now let's say you've got a hard edge brush selected, but you really want a soft edge brush. Again, you can come back in here and choose the soft edge brush, and you'll get a pretty soft edge there. Or what you can do is keyboard shortcuts, which I love, on a Windows machine. Hold down the Alt key, do a right click, and then move up and down. If you move up, it'll make it fuzzy, down it'll make it sharp. So this is pretty cool. Holding down that Alt key and a right click on a Windows machine, up and down for fuzzy or sharp, and left and right for big or small. And this up and down, left and right business is exactly the same thing on a Mac, only you hold down the Control and Option key and do a left click. Okay, let me go ahead and bring this brush down a little bit. Now, okay, let's say I don't want a round brush, I want some other kind of cool effect. So what you would probably want to do is, number one, click in here, look at your different options that you have, and there are just literally tens of thousands of different brushes you can download for free off the internet. On my website, in the brushes pages, I have links to them, or just do a Google search yourself and you'll find thousands of them. Let's choose this kind of grass guy over here. Okay, I've got the grass guy. Click, that puts on one guy. Click and drag, that puts on a few. Now you notice that I'm kind of varying between sort of grayish and blackish here. That's because my foreground color is set to black and my white my background color is set to white. We do a Control Z or Command Z, and then to jump back 2 steps, Control Alt Z or Command Option Z on a Mac. Okay, so I've got that. Now I want to do a little bit more with this in terms of color, and I want to do more in terms of different kinds of style. Now you can click on this, find this symbol up in your options bar, the brush panel, or what you can do is simply come right over here on the right hand side of your interface and find that guy right there. Click on that guy. That'll bring up your brush panel, and you're going to have a whole lot of options in there to play with. And let's take a look at some of them, shall we? Okay. All the options up here, you're going to have sliders that you can play with to adjust them. All the ones right down here, you don't have any sliders to play with. It's either just an on or off kind of thing. Let me turn off some of these guys here, and let me turn on color dynamics. Now, let me do one other thing here. Let me turn off color dynamics for a second. If I just click on the box for color dynamics, I don't get any options. So you have to click on the actual name itself, and only then do you start getting options for this. This is one of my favorites, color dynamics actually, hue jitter. Now I've got my foreground and background set to black and white. I want to change this, make it something a little bit interesting. I'm going to set my foreground to kind of deep green, and I'm going to set my background to a kind of spring, sort of yellowish kind of green. So now I've got my foreground and background set to different colors. Now, if I have my hue jitter all the way down, what's going to happen is that you'll see what's going to happen. The color varies, but with my hue and jitter slider all the way down, the color doesn't vary that much. If I go ahead and move that hue and jitter slider way up, I'm going to be revolving all the way around the spectrum as I click and drag. Pretty cool effect. Step back, step back. So these are extremely cool to play with. Color dynamics is just outstanding. Scattering. Now if you get on here, scattering, again, click on the name to get your options. When you move your sliders around, you can get a good preview down here of what it's going to look like. So if I slide my count up, you can see what's going to happen. You've got more as you swipe across. The count jitter. See what happens there. So you move that down, or is it you move that up? Same thing with every one of the other ones. Shape dynamics. Now this is kind of cool too. When you click and drag, that's kind of the shapes that are going to come out. But let's do size jitter. Okay. Size jitter. Angle jitter. Look what happens to the angle of them as you sweep around. So you can change the angle here also. And you've got things like roundness jitter and minimum roundness things to play with. There's a whole host of stuff to play with here, and it's really great fun. You could have texture, and then you could have the scale of your texture here, the depth of the texture. And you can also choose different types of textures, and you can click in here to get to, you know, the artistic surfaces, for example. If you click on something like that, go ahead and click OK. If you click a pen, that means it's going to add all your choices to the ones you already have, and you're going to start building a bigger and bigger list. And I don't know, maybe some people want to do that. I usually don't. I want to keep all these different categories separate, so I'll just click OK, and then I get that guy as my texture, and then you just go from there. Okay. Scattering is another cool one. Click on the name to get your options. Did we do scattering already? No, we didn't. That's pretty cool too. Look at that. So obviously, how much does it scatter? Whoa! Okay, they're scattering all over the place. A great fun for your brushes, and you can get just super cool effects on here. So have a lot of fun with that. And let's see, what am I missing on this particular tutorial? I don't think I'm missing just about anything, actually. Okay, pretty cool. How to adjust the size of your brushes, how to adjust the fuzziness of the edge of your brushes with keyboard shortcuts, and how to select different kinds of brushes, and then how to get really fine tuning on your brush in a whole lot of different effects. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and check out our other brushes tutorials, like the ones of how to install brushes, which is basically really easy. Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.